Hello, this is Scott Loomis, and welcome to my newest series of webinars entitled, If I Was, name a specific teaching position, I would use Wixie to do the following. Basically, I've been producing webinars or video recordings here, or even tutorials on how to use specific tools and features within Wixie and how those tools and features might lend themselves to integration, kind of across the board, cross-curricular integration. And then I realized, or I got to a point where I'm starting to have more and more conversations about if I was a media specialist, what would I do with Wixie? If I was an art teacher, if I was an elementary, mathematics teacher, or maybe I was teaching, social studies in 4th or 5th grade, what are some of the tools and features within Wixie and its administrative accounts and student accounts that I would want to be aware of because I think they're most valuable for those certain positions in the instructional use within those classrooms or settings? So today, hopefully that wasn't too lengthy of an explanation. Today, I want to go ahead and start with instructional coaches. So if I was an elementary instructional coach, I would use Wixie to do the following. And again, I'm not talking technology, integration teachers or anything like that. I'm talking instructional coach. Students demonstrating their knowledge based on, curriculum expectations, the guides, the standards, you name it. So there are 4 things I want to cover. And let's start off with the first one. If I was an instructional coach at elementary level, I would definitely want to be sure that I accessed our school's administrative account to see usage data. And what I mean by that is I've gone ahead and taken a screenshot of a specific school. I have Loomis Elementary, which is like a practice site, so my data is kind of stagnant, where this is actually a screenshot with some sections blacked out or blued out, where the instructional coach could look and see who is using the data, using Wixie, and how often to what extent. One of the first things I've done here when I logged on to the school's administrative account is I extended the date range. Obviously today is April 10th, so I pushed it back to January 1st. So I just wanted this, second half, so to speak, of the school year so far. I could easily extend that back to August 1st or September 1st or whatnot. This gives me a line graph on how the data is going. It looks like we peaked well beginning of the year, kind of a little over. Then February and March, it got high again. A little bit in between here in going into March, so that was January and February was high, and then it's kind of shown, kind of an upward trend here lately. The names of the users would be here, and again, this is a mix between students and teachers. So you'll notice at this particular school, the top 4 users are students, and there's a publisher, there's a teacher coming in there. So we'll notice that this first student logged on to their account 94 different times, and they've created actually or opened 138 different activities. So every time you do a new project, that would count as an activity. We see the teacher, down here as a publisher, has been logged on 73 times, but only 49 projects. However, if you're a teacher and you're logging in to view students' work, that doesn't count as a project. So we see a lot of times where teachers' visits are very high because they're assessing student works, they're assigning templates or things like that. So that data is kind of reflected there and appropriate. I love the duration. It does minutes and seconds and hours, but you do have to be leery. Sometimes students will log into an account or teachers will, and then they'll walk away from their machine and it'll take maybe an hour to time out in some cases. So we get some extra data that just seems unrealistic from time to time. You'll also notice that when I do look at student data, it actually defaults to the top 5, but I would consider upping it to the maximum, which is 100. You can go top 5, top 20, top 50, or top 100 users within your school. All right, so great kind of data, and you can see who's using and who's not. If you want to, there's an export option, which shows up down here in the corner, not in the screenshot, that allows you to export the entire school data so you can look individually at the teachers that are not on the top 100 list. Now, as much as the data should help, actually I should start off with how do you get your school administrative account if you are an instructional coach or someone in the administration level. We don't want teachers to have access to this. You can basically contact your regional manager. I'm a regional manager for the Mid-Atlantic area, so if you're in like Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, or North Carolina, give me an email. I'll be happy to get you the information you need. And your tech learning person can also provide that as well. If you're not sure who that person is, you can shoot me an email. I can set you straight and get you connected with the person you need to. So as I started to say, as much as you may want to use this data to question people, well, why aren't you using Wixie? I would definitely not take that approach. Although it'll identify who are the non-users and who could use some more support, potentially after training, I think it's the best opportunity to give it a chance to celebrate those that are using it. And one of the neatest options I've seen is actually from Kevin Ricard, who works down in Virginia Beach as an instructional technology specialist. And he created a Wixie shield. And basically, when he checked the data, when he saw some top users in the school, some teachers obviously using it, he would print out these bad boys like 6x6 and just tape them on the door of the hallway next to the classroom. No fanfare, no nothing, just boom, it shows up one day. And teachers are going to talk about, where'd you get that? Or what did you do to get that? Or, maybe at the lunchroom, maybe standing out in the hallway as kids come and go. So it's a neat way to at least give recognition to those using it and to possibly get some interest from other people to use it as well. And there is my email address if you want your school information, or if you want this particular JPEG file, or it's a PNG file, I apologize. You're welcome to email me, and I can send this to you. I appreciate Kevin, his efforts not only to make and use this, which I thought were brilliant, but his desire or willingness to share. Right? So the school account, fantastic information. The second thing I would do is, if I was an elementary instructional coach, is to encourage teachers to share Wixie activity templates with one another. Now, within the teacher account, you have the ability to open up activities, which shows up here. And again, this is another screenshot. The activities typically are your stuff and our curriculum libraries, which are produced by Tech for Learning. And if there are activities in a school folder or even a district folder, you have multiple folders to get activities from. However, the school folder won't show up unless there's something in it. I typically explain to folks that activities is where you assign templates to students. Projects is where you show. There are many options within the project window, but I think the most straightforward option is share within projects, assign within activities. So within Mason Elementary, which I'm currently looking at here, I see that someone has gone through and there's a plus folder icon. The blue oval is over it, but basically they've gone and created subfolders. So instead of everyone in the building just mass dumping into the school folder, we created subfolders so students or teachers could drop it in the first grade folder for their colleagues. And again, this is your opportunity, like for primary grades. I mean, if the kindergarten teachers got together, each worked on, maybe with the instructional coach at the same time, hint, hint, got together and each made a Wixie template or even modified existing templates to better meet the needs of the students. Each kindergarten teacher could drop that template into the kindergarten folder. And then when they go to assigning them a center work, they got a whole month worth of activities because, there were 4 teachers, each person shared one template each week. I mean, instead of everyone creating the wheel, you create part of it and then share or swap out so that you have much more to gain or much more to use than you would have had you done it by yourself. Clicking and dragging, or click and drop, basically is what you're doing. Activities into the school folders can be kind of tricky because a lot of folks will try to click and drag over the word and it'll just highlight the word. When you try to copy, and again, you've opened up My Projects, so here at top, when you're trying to move something from your projects into a grade level folder, it's important to click over the icon. And a 4-way arrow will basically, it'll just pop up. It'll show where the browser arrow is in my case. You get a 4-way arrow. At that point, you would click and drag and drop it. See, I'm trying to click there. And drop it in the grade folder, and a copy of your project goes into the school folder. Your master is still within your projects. If someone was to modify that template at the school folder, especially if they went into activities, they would simply get a copy of it in My Activity. So they get their own version of My Projects, So they get their own copy. Your master is still in the school folder as well as yours. So that's an easy way to kind of share. And then again, when you want to access those from your colleagues, you're going to go into activities and down to your elementary school folder. Right? So that's again an easy way. And you trying to encourage folks to use technology could easily create templates for them and drop them in for them. Knowing that a space unit is coming up or that they're focusing on poetry, with language arts right now. So easy opportunity to work with the teachers to use or for you to create and share on your own. As a point of reference, I have created a video for how teachers can share with one another, both at the school and the district level. And here's my YouTube channel. It's lengthy, so I know you're going to have to write it down or copy down. Or honestly, if you just want to do a search for me, Scott Loomis, this is the picture that I have within my YouTube channel. You can search for me and you'll find them, I think, much easier than typing out that URL. Number 3, as an instructional coach, I would promote parents and guardians to share what their children are doing with family and friends. So basically, if you don't know already, there is so much memory within Wixie, your students will never use it all. So Wixie should be used, obviously, for productivity purposes within the classroom and for daily instruction, but it should also be used for fun at home. So let's say, for instance, just for fun at home, a kid, here's how to share it, actually. Let's say a student does create something, and I'm going to back up to it, but let's say they create a happy birthday grandma card or happy birthday granny here. And they draw a cake, and they put their messages, and then they record themselves singing happy birthday. I mean, how awesome is that? So they sung happy birthday. They're going to melt Granny's heart, basically, with this. She's probably going to cry when she sees it. How can a parent, again, you have to do nothing. How can a parent share that template and do it with an access code? So it's not like, anybody can get there. It's just, there's basically a public key. For the students, or for the parents, they can log on as their student's account. Or the students, there's no reason why, third or fourth and fifth graders can't do this. They would actually go to the Wixie icon. And under the Wixie icon, they would select home. Now, as a student logged into home, they would then get a list of all of their projects. You'll see there are ways to share social media or to print it here, but also there's a way to email it. So if she wanted to share the Spanish project or history project, which is actually entitled right here, she clicks the email icon and this window pops up here, the third window. Basically, there is the direct URL to the project and there's a public key. You type in the emails you want it to send it to. So I want Granny, I want maybe Grandpa, maybe someone else, maybe it's like a Happy Holidays, so therefore it goes to multiple people. You need to identify the email that you'll be sending it from. So, I would do sloomis@techforlearning.com and I would send it to, in their case, Nana and Pops for my daughters. You can even write a little message to Granny. Happy birthday, Granny. I made this video. I hope you like it. Or obviously if it's the parent, hey mom, Stevie made you a little video. I think you'll find it cute. Let me know what you think. And the moment you press send is the moment it goes out. And again, it's basically going to list your message as well as provide the hyperlink, which they can click on, and they can copy and paste the public key to access it. So it is secure, highly secure. All right, and again, great for this. It could be for schoolwork. You're just so proud you want to show it off. But what's nice about this is it develops program fluency as well when they're just doing stuff on their own. And again, the teacher, doesn't need to get worked up over all this extra stuff. This is stuff that, they're doing on their own, hopefully being productive and hopefully having some type of value to it instead of just, gibberish or random drawing and crazy scribbling. And again, I have directions on my YouTube channel just for how friends and families can share. So once again, there's the link, and there's, if you want to search by me, you'll find both those videos on my YouTube channel. Number 4, if I was an elementary instructional coach, I would encourage teachers to use the instructions tool within activity templates. Many times what we see is teachers will create a template and write directions across the top of the page. So they'll write in, draw this or do that, but what you end up doing is taking up their workspace. Instead, by adding instructions, you have a way to insert directions, which will actually show up over here in the space in the right side pane bar or pane window, that do not take up their workspace. So basically, to add an instruction, as you can see here, you go to the edit icon and come down to instructions. When you do, a window pops up which you can type in, and you can actually record yourself as well. So talk about centers again. They could be asked to draw a snowman that has 3 circles, 3 squares, and 3 triangles. Again, we're talking kindergarten, maybe first grade. And the teacher can read those directions, especially for non-readers. We have pre-K kids doing this. So as that center, I encourage you to use the headsets, but this is the teacher recording, and it differs completely from the student recording, which is here. What's wonderful about this is you can also include hyperlinks in this, and they will hyperlink. So in this case, and again, in this case, they said draw a picture to show the beginning of the story and add an audio recording that explains what is happening, and that's fine. If you type in a URL, it'll go hyperlink, so you can actually navigate between 2 tabs at the top, Wixie tab, and then whatever the hyperlink is. So they wanted to list 3 ways the Boston Tea Party was an effective means of protest. So they would navigate, maybe come back to a graphic organizer and put those notes in Wixie, and then maybe do a persuasive infomercial, or basically a commercial about why you should support the Tea Party or something like that in the continuation of pages than the Wixie project. This mentality is a little bit different. Teachers need to realize they may actually assign a blank project to the students. Nothing on page 1, nothing on page 2, nothing on page 3, but on page 1 it has the directions. Draw an illustration at the beginning and add an audio recording explaining it. Second page, middle, add an audio recording. Third page, into the story, another audio recording. So this maximizes their workspace and is a highly effective ways of partitioning work for the students to work more independently instead of continuously needing teacher assistance or guidance. So in summary, if I was an instructional coach, I would use Wixie to do the following. We talked about the school account and the data that's available, how to use it to positively reinforce the use of the program, and gently encourage those who aren't to try to get on board. Have teachers share templates with each other. Those beautiful teams that are surviving together, it's an awesome way to kind of get that, again, content or kind of user specified as far as meeting the individual needs of the students that are typically across a grade level and sharing with one another. Having parents and guardians share templates. It's a great thing to work with your PTA on, especially since Wixie is available on any device with internet connectivity. And lastly is to encourage teachers to use those instructions. I think it's a great way to structure an assessment activity and not take up workspace on the page, but to use that tool that shows up on the right-hand side. Again, my name is Scott Loomis. I think I can jump all the way to page 1. My name is Scott Loomis. If you have any questions or comments or whatnot, don't hesitate to contact me. My email is here, and I've pasted it in other places as well. I want to thank you all again. Have a wonderful day, and go Instructional Coaches.